And good morning, and welcome to another edition of Magic Man in the Morning.
And good morning.
I'm your host, Sean Grice, and welcome to the 6th. It's a beautiful day. It is Wednesday, May 24th. This is a surprise Magic Man in the Morning, but I thought I'd bring it to you guys because our season ended swiftly and forcefully on Monday. Friday, I have a bit of a scheduling issue, so I didn't want to come in too early and make sure nobody saw it, especially Gerald, since he's on vacation. So I wasn't going to wake the Glassfords up on their much-needed vacation. And Gerald, I hope you enjoy your vacay, and when you come back, you'll be enthused and bushy-tailed once again. Now, as for today's episode, I thought the theme would be perspective. That's what I'm about today. I'm about the perspective. So for me, and as we welcome in Zangerstein, what's up, Z? As Z works out some audio issues we have with the Lakers fast break, we'll get to that. I just wanted to say this perspective is really important to me. I don't think I've shared it with the audience, and since we've become friends, I think it's important that Eduardo says Game 5. Yeah, man. On 2K it'll be Game 5. But I just wanted to share. I shouldn't be here having this discussion with you guys seriously. So I'm a type 1 diabetic. So when I was 5 years old, I started losing a lot of weight. At first it was a couple kilos a week for 2 weeks. Then it was 7.5 for a couple. The first incident, my mother took me to the doctor's office and said, my son is losing a tremendous amount of weight. I don't know what's going on. The doctor diagnosed me with tonsillitis and sent me back home. Upon another few days, I started getting extremely sick. And my mother took me to see the doctor again. You could see through my rib cage. You could actually see the cartilage. That's how thinned and bony I was. And I was dying at the time. She didn't know it. The doctor didn't know, but I was dying. So they rushed me to a children's hospital. And they took me in to see the head of endocrinology at the best children's hospital around. And after about 45 minutes, he came out and he spoke with my family, and he said that if he could give a certificate for the sickest child he's ever seen, it would have been me. Normally, a blood glucose level up here, the readings are normal is between 4 and 7. High is anywhere from 12 to 33. Now, after 33, the blood is so thick and is so turbulent that it can't be measured. There's too much glucose running through the system. So he said my blood glucose level was 65. So that's twice the normal limit of what's considered, high. So this was a lethal high. And he told my mother that he couldn't give me a flush bolus of insulin because he was petrified that I would go into multiple organ failure. So he said, I have to drip dose your son with insulin until his blood sugar can come down to a level where I'm not in significant worry that he's going to die. So I shouldn't be here talking to you guys. I'm an anomaly. Can't explain it. There's no doctor today that I've ever seen that's been able to explain that situation, and they say they can't. So I'm just blessed to be here talking to you guys And I'm just thankful. I just have a lot of gratitude that we have the audience we have, and that you guys keep coming out to support us. And you guys keep us on our toes, and we try and keep you on your toes. And it's just a blessing for me. And I just wanted to say thank you guys. This has been so awesome, and I hope the experience continues. And so I wanted to keep that perspective in mind, because the perspective for this season for me is there's a lot of salt. We were salty for a lot of this season. Salty about the roster, salty about the new coach, salty about the front office, salty about ownership. And then the trade deadline happened. And then things started to get less salty. And they got a little more savory because the defense was good. That's right, Hudson. We need a big and elite point guard. 100%, bro. So we started to get a little savory of what the team potentially could be. They were playing at that best during that 6-week stretch, and it apexed with that 6-round victory against Memphis. And F you, Dylan Brooks, you clown-ass clown. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You won knocking your ass out of the first round, clown ass. So that was really sweet, right? Then we get to round 2, and we're running around trying to chase Golden State everywhere. And as we had said earlier, me and Gerald and John McKillian, just running around with those guys just takes a lot of energy out of you. It's a lot of exertion, a lot of bursts of energy. And Golden State, I think, maxed out their potential this year with their team, and they took us to 6 games and knocked them out. So that was pretty sweet too. And then we get to the sour, which was the Western Conference Finals. That's a sour note to end the season on. Getting swept. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just bad, especially considering the fact that you lost game 1 by 6, you lost game 2 by 5, you lost game 3 by 11, and you lost game 4 by 2. 3 of the 4 losses were by 5 points or less. That's sour. That sucks. It tastes really bad. However, we did start out 2-10. We weren't supposed to even make the play-in, let alone the playoffs. Won 2 rounds and made to the Western Conference Finals, That's a sweet aftertaste, I gotta say. Sour note to end, but a sweet aftertaste. Because they accomplished more than I thought they would. And I'm proud of them. And good on them. But we have to get back to playing at a championship level from the hop. From the start, from the tip, from the starter's gun. None of this, we're coming from behind crap. That's not what we do here. We're the Lakers. We're not front runners. We're contenders. We put the best team out on the floor and we execute. I agree with Zangerstein right there. This team has the ingredients. They just lack the icing on top. That's true. This team has a lot of steak. It's just missing the sizzle. I agree. We're going to see if Rob can do something about that. I realize what has been said on other podcasts and what other analysts have said, that the Kyrie Irving rumors are at the end of the day invalid, because the Lakers don't have the requisite salary cap and common sense in the CBA for fans to understand that that's going to be dicey. Acquiring Trae Young is going to be dicey. So yeah, the Lakers are going to do what they did all season. They're going to look around the landscape and find somebody that nobody is linking them to is really damn good, because that's the only way they're going to get somebody like that. but I am really, really pleased with what took place over the second half of the season. And you know what? I'm ready to give Rob Pelinka his flowers for making sure that the roster was better constructed for a postseason run. The fact of the matter is, is that he doesn't deserve a coronation of roasted pig and Merlot yet, because he's the one who made that Westbrook trade. He's the one who had to bail us out of it and bail himself out of it. And as a result, you know, he's secured his job security. The Lakers and Jeannie Buss are not going to. Uh, yeah, you know what, Zanger? You have to respect Darvin Ham. You have to. I mean, I realize that again. There were a lot of analysts such as yourself and Stone and a lot of former players who had qualms and were nitpicking, and rightfully so, right, at some of his designs. But the fact of the matter is, he was around this group all year. He understood the urgency. He understood what they were missing. I'm sure he was very vocal about that. And ultimately, he didn't get what he wanted, but he got what he needed to try and get this team over the hump. It's a Stones song. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want, but sometimes you get what you need. And that's what he got in the end. He got what he needed. And I just wanted to make sure that perspective is shone through, because it's true. And now we find ourselves in an off season where there's a lot of question marks. You know what? Let's leave those for another time, another day. I'm just happy that the Lakers were able to make a deep playoff run. I got to talk about the Lakers for 5 more weeks than I realistically thought I would. I honestly thought we could probably get to the first round, and depending on the matchup, we could win. I didn't think we'd get all the way to the conference finals, even with this roster. I remember saying after the trade deadline that I thought the surgery was successful, but the patient was still going to die. Unfortunately, I wanted to be proven wrong. I wanted to be able to be on here and rip up that piece of paper and eat it for you guys, eat my own words. But the fact is and Zanger Stein with a great question, great comment. It's kind of funny because the center the Lakers need is Zubac's profile, the one Magic gave up for pennies. Well, he gave up Mike Muscala for him, but yeah, pennies on the dollar. Is Mike Muscala really making a big difference sitting at the end of the bench for the Boston Celtics right now? Nope. So that's disappointing, Zanger. But we can't keep beating a dead horse either. Like, that move was made. That move was made with a lot of short-sightedness on especially Magic's part, because he just traded them to a rival. This isn't like it's in the 80s and somehow they trade Byron Scott to you for peanuts as well. It's not the same thing. It's a different climate. It's a different environment. They're not the same team they were. And he had the sole objective of just believing in the smoke and mirrors that if I just put shooters around LeBron, it'll solve everything. Look how many times Mitch Kupchak did that with Kobe. Jason Capono forgot how to shoot when he came here. Troy Murphy forgot how to shoot. Terry Teagle with Magic. Like, you could go on and on down the list of guys the Lakers have acquired who lose their skills, and then the Lakers end up trading a guy with requisite skills that just keeps improving. It's mind numbing. But with Z, we should be thankful that Magic's not in that seat anymore. But I really think the coaching staff does need mending. I think you need to bring in, a Sam Cassell, a 2 point Jesus, somebody who can really, really get down in the trenches with a point guard, and figure out what works. I thought some of his creativity with Tyrese Maxey this year was great. That wasn't Doc. That was Sam Cassell. So I would love to see Sam Cassell work with. Good morning, Sovereign. Hope you're well. It's a beautiful morning here. I hope it's a beautiful morning where you are. Yeah, well, it is. It is. We've been on the opposite end of that as well, Zingerstein. Like when we traded Vlad for ammo, and then Shannon Brown came out of nowhere. That was a pretty good trade. So sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Zingerstein, I agree. I like Maxey's play more than Harden. NBA Finals is boring. Well, you know what, Raul? From a pure optics point of view and just eyeballs being interested, yeah, the Denver audience and the South Florida audience very small. I think they have a surplus population combined of maybe about 7 million. And I'd be hard pressed to find if you could like at least half of them. So the NBA is probably not going to like the TV ratings when they come out in about a month. Yeesh, not going to be good. I'm going to watch though. I'm a junkie, man. I can't help it. I'm going to watch it. I hate that they won yesterday. I hate it. I want them to lose. I want them to get swept. Didn't happen. That's fine. You know what? Jimmy and the boys go back to the Garden and just kick their ass there and beat their ass on their home floor. And let's get this over with. Because if we can't have 18 this year, neither can they. I want them to be as insufferably miserable as I am and other Laker fans are that we're not going to raise the trophy this year, so they can't raise it either. And my favorite in that series would be Miami. Not to go too in depth, but I just think ultimately, whether or not it's Aaron Gordon, KCP, you could even throw Bruce Brown in there. I really don't think there's a guy who can mitigate what Jimmy Butler can do. Jimmy's going to get his 25, 8, and 6. It's a matter of how he's going to do it and when he's going to do it. Is his best work done in the fourth quarter? Absolutely, which is why I think it'd be an interesting series from that perspective, Raul. I think it would be like a Jamal Murray and Jokic versus Jimmy B in the fourth quarter. I think that's an interesting storyline. As we move on for more perspectives, let's talk about some perspectives as far as the young guys are concerned. Did anybody expect Austin Reeves to shoot the way he shot over the past 3 months? No, but he's put in the work for it. Again, I've said it on playback. I'm not sure if I've said it on this podcast. I really do think that Austin Reeves could potentially be a 50, 40, 90 candidate at some point in his career. He's got the chops for it. He's just a slight subpar 90% free throw shooter. His shot selection is excellent. His shot selection is excellent. I think he can eventually be a 50% free throw from the field and 40% from three. That's a big ask, but I think he could do it once or twice in his career. He definitely has the energy, the motor, and the mind for it. And quite frankly, for a guy coming out of his rookie year to establish the kind of not just chemistry. Him and LeBron had a lot of synchronicity, especially so in the in the Golden State series. Those two got each other going. Usually, when Reeves started hitting, a couple layups or a couple of threes, that would get LeBron going because he was usually the person who found him. So that was really, really interesting and a really great byline in the season is that, LeBron developed strong, strong chemistry and synchronicity with Austin Reeves. And, you know, whether or not LeBron's coming back, right? But the fact of the matter is, if you're bringing back LeBron and Austin Reeves is absent from that equation, then there you go again. You're gonna have to start all over. You're gonna have to find a guard, either in the draft or undrafted, and LeBron's going to have to start over all again. I think a lot of people are making too much out of this and making a mountain out of a molehill when it comes to Reeves and his restricted free agency. I'm not sure about Rui because, as Stone Hansen and Gerald Glassford have discussed ad nauseum, it seems, is that, look, there's a whole resume of Rui, and absent the 8-week stretch he's had here, is he really going to keep blossoming? Because Rui can't hit jack you know what at the rim. He's a terrible, terrible rim finisher. That's one of the issues I have. The other issue is again 15 points one night, 18 points one night, 21 points the next night, 8, 4, 0. I agree, Zanger. I think the Lakers will match Reeves. I do too. I think we're going to see whether or not they just sign him to an extension or qualify him. I would rather sign. And again, we've had this conversation on Lakers Fast Break before. It's a bit of an in the weeds kind of how the sausage is made, so to speak, conversation. Boring, but the fact is, I would try to extend him before I attempt to qualify him. That way, there's no chance anyone has to make him an offer sheet if you've already signed him to an extension. Yeah, Zanger, I remember. Yeah, his splits in the playoffs are very good. He's a 50, 60, 90. Yeah. So I understand that, but we've seen that before where a player can just get hot for a stretch, but then they revert back to the mean. That's a statistical truism, right? Right, Zanger? Everything ultimately always reverts back to the mean. So that's what I'm saying. Like, are you willing to pay uh a fool's ransom for potentially him regressing back to the mean? I'm not sure if they're willing to do that. There's been some questions about that. He does have great chemistry with LeBron and AD in the front court. I will say that. So there's definitely some potential there. I'm just saying it's frustrating watching him finish at the rim. He needs to get better at finishing at the rim. As much as his jump shot has improved, he really needs to improve his running floaters, using the glass more. Like he like use the glass more, dude. You're strong enough, you can do it, but he's got to be a better finisher at the rim, Z, if we're going to take the next step. And moving on for more perspective, D'Angelo Russell. So when the Lakers first drafted D'Angelo Russell, I have to admit, wasn't a fan. I think it. I got to be honest. I kept saying, he plays like he's got cement in his sneakers, like he's walking, running in wet cement, and I noticed, you notice his sneakers would always screech the floor. Like I noticed that the first year and a half he played with the Lakers, he would constantly be nudging at his feet, and I just felt like, damn, like this guy's got such questionable footwork, and now this is happening. I never liked his footwork. Um, when he got traded, I wasn't too upset about it. The only upsetting part about that trade was that we didn't retain Brooke Lopez. We let Brooke walk out the door. That's what gets me. And back to Zinger Science point. Yeah, Z. He traded Zubats for Muscala, but he let Brooke Lopez walk out the door, who's better at what he does than both of those guys. I digress. That just gets me going. But the fact is that D'Lo came back. We needed his scoring punch for that 6 to 8 week run. We really did. And ultimately, what happened in the playoffs is what shouldn't be surprising. He got exposed for the bad defender that he is. He's not a good defender. He's a bad defender. At times he uses his length, but I mean that's like saying, a chameleon uses his sticky tongue. Like, yeah, so and what? Big deal. Wow, he gets a block every once in a while. Wow, a dog finds a bone once in a while too. Big deal. I want to thank him for his efforts. I don't want to see him back. I don't think he's a good fit with the core. I just, what, Z? His defense is just so suspect. D'Lo is so skilled and his ego is high, but his energy is low and his game is too slow sometimes. Trying hard and giving some force can get more results than pure skills. That's true. That's true. I mean, you crack the hammer against the rock 1,000 times, it's eventually going to break. That's 100% true. I will say this, though. Sometimes you can't bleed blood from a stone, though, either. At times his shot is ineffective. At times his shot selection is also ineffective. And when that happens, his processing skills aren't as fast as you want them to be. That's why he's not a pure point guard. Because although he makes really nice touch passes, he can make really great stretch passes. The processing skills aren't on a level of, say, a Trae Young or even a Tyrese Halliburton. So it's weird with him. Sometimes he's the best guard on the floor on a certain night, and then for 4 straight games, he'll be Harry Houdini and disappear. So I don't think D'Lo will be back. Even for the right price, I wouldn't want him back because his shooting can just take you out of a game. As we move on, salary schmallery. Yeah, sure. I don't think it's a good move to get into a business relationship with D'Angelo Russell. Z, I really don't. No, but yeah, that's a tough one because even if you put a number on D'Angelo Russell's, looking around, a team might say, yeah, I don't want to pay that for 2 or 3 more years. It's dicey. So if they need a salary, I guess they need a salary. I don't think so because at this point he's an unrestricted free agent. Like I think we need it. I think we need I want a Bamba or Beasley salaries. That's for damn sure. I don't think they can let either one of those guys walk. They got to keep at least one of those guys, and then. Yeah, okay. I can see your point, Z. If you're going to keep one of those guys, then you would probably re-sign Russell. So that's not. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. I'm just saying I don't want to see D'Angelo Russell wear purple and gold again. I don't. I don't. Drew Powell, 3 straight games against Memphis. Clutch playing game 1 against the Warriors. I hope we re-sign D'Lo. Okay. All right. I saw him play 3 good games in the playoffs, bro. Game 3 was all right, and then game 6, and then he had a great closeout game against the Warriors. His defense is bad. It's not going to help us get to a championship level. That's the problem. I understand that, Z, but the issue is like we're in a situation, right, in the CBA where you have to clean up your act over this next year, or you're going to face severe punishment. Like severe punishment. Like you're going to lose draft picks. You're going to lose the ability to sign players in the buyout market. So they need to be very careful about how they handle this situation with D'Angelo Russell. It's just that simple. You might need the salary. But the fact of the matter is that, and at the end of the day, there's just no guarantee right now that another team would take him. Like especially like when we're talking about the teams at the bottom need to resign their own people too. Like people are talking about Houston. Houston has to figure out what they're doing with Alperen Şengün. They have to figure out what they're doing with Jalen Green. They have to figure out what they're doing with Ty Washington. Houston has to pay a bunch of the guys coming up. So it's not like you can just throw around $25 million for Reeves or $25 million for for Josh Hart. Like you can't just flippantly spend this kind of money. Z says the thing with Memphis and the Warriors is that attacking D'Lo is not a part of their game plan, unlike the Nuggets. Yes, that was correct. And I to counter that, right? The Lakers were able to use D'Lo as a weapon against those two teams because as 6'5" and with some length, he was able to back down a lot of their guards and shoot, 16, 20-foot turnaround fadeaways and make them with accuracy because he can make those shots. He played very well over the first 2 series. It's just a player who commands that kind of salary cap shouldn't have that kind of impact on a playoff game, and B, shouldn't be playing that much in a playoff game given his defensive issues. One of the reasons that it hasn't worked the first time in LA, in Brooklyn, in Minnesota, and now is because at times he's the worst player on the basketball court, especially when his shot is inconsistent and his defense is bad. Now, moving on for perspectives, Jared Vando. So we've heard good things about Vando before he even arrived in Los Angeles. And then throughout a few games, me and Gerald were astounded really at the fact that a lot of his passing skills are not at the full front of his profile. He's an excellent passer, especially in the open court. That backspin he can get on a ball is perfect. It's like it's Magic-esque. It's Penny Hardaway-esque. The way he can put the backspin on the ball in the open court is fantastic. It's an excellent skill to have, and he's a 10 out of 10. Played well in spurts, right? Really needed him in the series with Ja. Really needed him in that one. Basically, we put him on Curry as well. Played well against Curry. Teams adjusted on Vando. Unfortunately, Vando could never get going really offensively. He can't hit the corner 3. He's good. He's good enough to hit the corner three, to take enough of those shots just around the other areas of the basketball court. Dude just needs to improve, but I love him. I love his heart. Vando's got a lot of heart. Later, Raul. Vando's got a lot of heart. He plays with a lot of heart. He also plays with a big motor. So we're gonna bring him back. I'd like to keep. Strong typhoon landed now in my area. All right, Raul, please batten down the hatches and be safe, man. I'm praying for you, brother. I'm praying for you. We're all praying for you. Yeah, Zanger, I agree. Vando's passing and his off-ball work. Ham did not do much off-ball plays. That's one of my concerns. Where the handoff flares and pin screens. Yeah, like he's really good at that stuff, right, Z? Just he. One thing I love about Vando is when he's on a break, his eyes are always looking down, looking straight ahead, straight at the rim or straight down the seams where somebody's flying. And I agree, Z. There wasn't a lot of off-ball movement and a lot of, and that's why you and others, and including ourselves, were talking about how the offense at times is so milk toast and vanilla, like blah, like please, it's like paper cutter, terrible, like. And so I'm looking for Vando to hopefully work hard in the gym this summer. I think he will. But we need to incorporate his positive skills on offense, and he does have them, into the offense, because I just love the chemistry he had with AD on defense. And so if we brought Rui back, then you would have a combination of like Rui, Vando, AD, and maybe a backup center to complement those three guys. But the front court looks like it's in pretty good shape. Hopefully, LeBron takes some time, and yeah, we all think he's gonna be back, right? Not gonna leave that kind of quan on the table. Bando needs to work on his baseline threes. That's all. Baseline threes, and he will be great. Yeah. He made it. He made enough where you're confident enough he can actually work on that and be good at it, Z. So I think he needs to develop a little bit of a dribble drive game, Z. When the Lakers had Danny Green, Danny Green at that point was a 3-and-D threat. I mean, he was looked at as the example for about 3 years. But Danny had to develop a dribble drive game, because that first series they played against the Heat in the finals, the Heat trapped him when he had to hesitate on open jumpers, and he could never put the ball on the floor confidently enough, try to make a play for himself or others. So I really think if Vando develops that skill as well, it'll translate better, and it'll make our offense a little bit more buttery, more smooth. That's what I'm hoping for. And you don't need to work on it, a numerous amounts of hours. Just a little bit. Like you said, just a little hot sauce, right? That's all you need. Just a little hot sauce. As we move on, Drew Powell says AD should stay at power forward unless for matchup purposes. I agree, brother. I agree. See, dribbling is hard. So to me, baseline three, because you won't be able to dribble because you can't shoot. Defender sags up. Yeah, that's true. But there are certain guys who had to learn. Danny Green's the best example of that. I'm just saying. I don't think he's. We saw that too as well, right, Z? When the screens came, somehow Vando and, oh my God, they weren't respected enough. So defense didn't care whether they sagged off, especially in those first two series. With Denver, it was more explicit, right? Because he barely played. But good point. As we move on, I want Max Christie to play more in his second year. And for God's sakes, why the hell did you sign him that 2-year deal? Why? Memphis signed Kennedy Chandler to a 4-year contract, and they had to get rid of him because they had another G leaguer, Kenny Lofton Jr., who happened to be a great player, and they needed to sign him, so they let that guy go. But Rob just keeps signing our guys that we draft in the second round to like 2-year deals. Nah, here's a 2-year deal for you, a 2-year deal for you. Danny developed his dribble because defenders are going at him. He reads the dribble play. Yeah, but he had to learn that for like a whole 2 seasons too, right? That's true. He had to learn that for a whole 2 seasons because at some points Pop just took him off the floor because he couldn't do that. He couldn't react to secondary what's the word there? Blanky, but yeah, you're right, Z. You're right. But if you're going to be like Vando doesn't have the offensive chops that Pascal Siakam has, Z, but they have similar body types, and Vando is perfectly capable of it doesn't even have to be a big one. It's perfectly capable of developing that kind of action where he can work. Max should definitely get playing time next year. Sovereign. Yeah, see. Yeah. To me, Vando and Rui need to finish at the rim. Hell yes. Hells yes. But Sovereign, yeah, Max needs to play more. Like if you're honestly evaluating the Lakers, right? So I'd argue Max Christie is our 4th best defender, and he didn't even play in the playoffs. So your 4th best defender didn't even get any time, any rip in the playoffs, and you could have used him. Christie always had the outline to be a very good player, like his body type and his prowess. Like that to me, that's the big difference. Why Christie's going to get more minutes over, say, somebody like Mo Bamba is that for their size and for their height, Max Christie actually uses his length, and whereas Bamba doesn't. Oftentimes he's absent-minded that he has length over just about 99.9% of the other front court players and players in general he's playing with. So Christie knows how to use his length defensively. He really, really plays hard trying to get over screens rather than under them. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he comes from a very disciplined coach from Michigan State and Tom Izzo. Izzo really demands that his players fight over screens, not under them. It's a discipline that some guys learn over their years in the NBA from mistakes. Seems like Christie already had that mindset where he just tries to fight through everything. His shot got a lot better over the year as well. Christie had kind of the similar ascension that Austin Reeves had, only in this instance, because we were constantly fighting and clawing, trying to get into a play-in or playoff position, Ham had to sacrifice somebody against the idea that we weren't going to make the playoffs, and unfortunately, Christie was the odd man out, and I disagree with that. I thought he should have gotten at least 20 minutes a game, and you should have at least played him a little bit in the playoffs, just a little bit, because there were times where Dennis Schroeder was absolutely unplayable, and you still put him out there. Christie's bigger than him, longer than him, he could fight through it, and Z says, here's my perspective. They have to develop running over the screens throughout the year. I remember Vogel doing it even against non-shooters because it's about habits. Yes, that's true. It is. It's not like you can turn it on and off, right? It's habitual. And as Z said, it's developing habits, right? Bad habits die hard. That's the old expression. So yeah, that's a good point, Z. Because even against non-shooters, against sub 35, sub 30% 3-point shooters, Z's right. Vogel would demand his players go over the screen rather than under. He wasn't going. He wasn't going to tolerate laziness. Who's not going to tolerate laziness. And that's what I'm hoping, eventually gets going with, because it really hurt. It really hurt in the Golden State series. They started to do it just a little bit too much, especially after game 3. In game 4, they were doing it a little too much. And from game 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, for about 7, 8 games, they were just playing this. Well, we'll fight over screens when we think we need to, rather than all the time. Great point, Z. Great point, Z. Moving on down the line. Dennis had a really up and down year, right? I mean, for me, Dennis, in an 82 game season, I was thinking that contract he didn't sign. In an 82 game season, Dennis will give you 25 good to really good games. He'll give you 20 to 25 really bad to inexplicable games, and then he'll be okay for about 30 of them. So you normally get an okay to pretty good Dennis. Sometimes you get the bad Dennis. It's there are 3 sides to the truth. There are 3 sides to Dennis Schroeder: good, bad, and the ugly. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to even afford him to bring him back. So I'm not even sure we can bring him back. I'd like to bring him back. I think he's a very effective scoring point guard. He's not a traditional playmaker, so maybe you think you can get a better version of what he does at a discount, which I don't see. So I'm pretty sure if they don't bring him back, they're gonna bring back somebody of a little lesser skill quality, and or a completely different combo guard altogether. Troy Brown Jr. Man, there's another guy that I thought earned some run, but for some reason, Darvin Ham just wasn't confident enough in his play. I thought he played well against Memphis in the first round. Didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but he was active, good facilitator, has some playmaking chops. I'd like to bring back Troy Brown Jr. I'm not sure if he would want to come back. But good luck, because I really like his game and think he could be a pretty good guard off the bench. Lonnie Walker the fourth. Lonnie, thank you very much for showing up at a critical moment for the Lakers. You'll go down in Lakers lore for that, brother. Thank you very much. We love you. Lonnie Walker the fourth will always be a Laker. I just don't think you'd want to be a Laker now, Lonnie. I think you played your way out of Los Angeles, and I think you'll find your way onto another team with hopefully a contract that sets you and your family up for the next generation. Good on you, Lonnie. Thank you so much, and we wish you good luck on your journey. As we move on, LeBron. What can you say, man? 20th year. Nearly tore the muscle at the bottom of your foot that you need for everything. And he's decided that, I'm going to rest as long as I physically can. And I'm going to play through an immense amount of pain. LeBron was in pain ladies and gentlemen. He was in pain. He was in a lot of pain. He played through pain, significant pain. It's not like this. I know what people are saying. Oh, Sean, well, he could take can take a cortisol shot, or you give him a couple oxycontin after the game to deal with it. No, this is the kind of injury where you just fight through it. It's like one of the worst. It feels like lightning is underneath your feet. It's not plantar fasciitis. That's different. This is like that constant spider webbing pain at the bottom of your foot. That's what LeBron felt for weeks. And I'm amazed he came back from it. I am. Because most physical therapists I know have said, there's no way physically that the man should have been able to play at the level he did, but somehow he did it, somehow he did it. It's like somebody gets like their shins blown off. I'm not trying to equate it to that, but someone who can't walk somehow manages to walk. That's what LeBron was able to do. I don't know how he was able to play basketball at a high level in the NBA for 8 weeks with that kind of injury, but somehow he did. So I'd like to hopefully, and by the way, good on him for saying, you know what? You're not going to hear about my surgery until I come back and tell you guys about it, or we're back at training camp and I let you know when it happened. That's boss. That's boss. Like, no matter how good your sources are, Shams, Woj, anyone else, you're never gonna find out where and when I'm getting surgery. That's boss. Going into perspectives about AD and LeBron need to take care of their feet, guys. They really need to take care of their feet. He has to get surgery, Sovereign. He has to. He has to have it. It's necessary. It almost ruptured. It almost ruptured. That if a muscle almost ruptures, it doesn't rupture, but that doesn't mean it doesn't need to be regeneratively healed. It does, because there's a lot of scar tissue, and the collagen really needs to heal. So he needs surgery. It's the most important part of the whole process here. If he doesn't have surgery, I don't think he can ever play again. Yeah, you know what? The team found a way to gel this year through thick and thin, hell and high water. They just gelled, and I'm proud of them. And I'm thankful that they gave me a deep playoff run here, and we got to discuss it. And guys, we're still talking about it because a lot of what they acquired leads us to believe that this core can do something next year and the year after. I think LeBron and AD will continue. I think we got 2 more years of this, and then I think it's over. So I think there's a 2-year plan here. You need to build for the present and or build for the future, because it's one or the other. The past is the past. There's no looking back. Sovereign says, great quote. No way we start 2-10 next year if we run it mostly back. I agree. There was a there was a lot behind that 2-10 start. Perspectives. Russell Westbrook. Russ, I'm glad you're not a Laker anymore, man. Because we were all, most of us, with half a brain, we're willing to give you a shot, brother, because you're a Hall of Famer walking into the Hall of Fame, and you're coming into a situation where AD and LeBron both had dealt with almost season lingering injuries, missing, 18 games, 20 games. And we thought that fitting you in that third slot, you'd be able to plug the holes when things got pretty thick, but didn't happen. We put along the geezer front for LeBron AD last year with Russ, and the geezer front managed to win us 33 games. So we roll back. Still, the roster from number 4 to number 15 was not good. It didn't complement Russ at all, and he didn't complement the rest of the roster. And he decides to blame the Lakers organization, blame the coach, blame Vogel. Then he decides he's going to blame us. It's the fans' fault. We didn't turn on you, bro. We were supporting you the whole way. And then the second you left, we got to the Western Conference Finals at the end of the day. Didn't win it. But I distinctly remember you saying that if the Lakers won a championship, you wanted that ring. Even though you weren't a part of it, you wanted that ring. You know what, guys? If anyone out there thought that Pat Bev and Russell deserves a ring, then Matt Ryan deserves a ring too. Because Matt Ryan won us a game. We wouldn't have been for 43-39 if it wasn't for Matt Ryan. We would have been 42-40. So if you were gonna give a ring to those guys, but nobody mentioned Matt Ryan, right? Nope. Just funny how that works out. Yes, Sovereign. Losing Russ was addition by subtraction. Well, Sovereign, I'm not so sure that that there is parity, but I mean, last year Golden State and Boston played in the finals. The year before it was Phoenix and Milwaukee. The year before that it was Lakers and the Heat, then the Raps and the War. So Toronto, Milwaukee, Phoenix, Denver now. So I mean, it's always been there. It's just have they been able to get over the hump? Like the Raptors are an example to all those small and mid market teams. They took a chance on it one year, and they won. See, to me, what was interesting is the Nuggets saw what the Raptors did, and they tried to follow basically what the Raptors did too. They traded for Aaron Gordon. They traded for KCP. They found the right mix and just blended. Now, can they finish the job? That's the ultimate test. We're going to find out. But with that, wow, man, an hour. I appreciate everybody. I wish Z's audio had been working because would have liked to talk to her. But Z, we need to make sure your audio is fixed, all right? Because we're going to have you on again. So I appreciate everybody. Thank you for tuning in to MagicMan in the Morning. Go Lakers, and we'll see you again soon.